Welcome to episode 6. I'm your host, Chris Moss, and today I got 4 stories for you. We're talking about a black-eyed doppelganger and the red-faced devil man is back. But real quick, don't forget to join the Facebook group. The link is in the description. Don't hesitate to send me your stories. If you would like to email me your story, the email is everywhere on the screen, in the description, in the about me. It's everywhere. I'm not hard to find, but shout out to all my subscribers, everybody who sends their stories in, and everybody who watches my videos and hits like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Now let's get into the black-eyed doppelganger encounter. Now, Marquita has said that she's always experienced the paranormal from the age of 4 up until now, and that she didn't experience cryptids until the age of 12. And the incident that she shared with me that I'm going to share with you right now happened when she was 28. Now, she had just gotten married to who is now her ex-husband and moved into the apartments in a suburban area about 45 minutes away from Detroit, Michigan. Now, they had these neighbors that lived above them that did a lot of sorcery. So one night she heard this chanting, and to her it sounded loud to the point that it bothered her spirit. So she asked her now ex-husband if he heard the chanting, and he said no. Now, a few weeks later, after she hears this chanting, is when she has the black-eyed doppelganger incident, and she knows she had this incident because of her neighbors. So around 9:30 p.m. on a summer night, she's at her computer in the dining room, and to get a little bit of the layout of the apartment, the dining room is an open concept where you can see the living room and down the hall to her bedroom. Her kitchen is across from the bedroom. She lived in a 1-bedroom apartment with her now ex-husband. So basically you could walk into the kitchen from her bedroom, and from the kitchen you could walk out to the dining room. So she's at her computer and all the lights are off. The only sources of light that was on at the time was the lighting from the computer, the TV in the bedroom because her husband at the time was watching TV, and her blinds were open, so the apartment parking lot lights were shining through the blinds. Now, at the time, her ex-husband was lying down in the bedroom watching TV while she was at the computer, and she told her husband to get up and put some clothes on so they could go out for dinner. Now, all of a sudden, 15 minutes later, her husband walks out of the kitchen to the dining room, and she's at the dining room table, and she asked him, "Why aren't you dressed?" She said he was just standing at the table smiling at me. I'm looking like, "Dude, are you going to get dressed or not?" And he's just standing there smiling, an unnatural smile, and she noticed that the eyes were all black. Then all of a sudden she hears his voice saying, "Yeah, I'm coming." And she realizes his voice is coming from the bedroom. Her husband is still laying down watching TV, and the person in front of her is not her husband. Now, from where she was sitting in the dining room, she could see 2 versions of her husband, one in the bedroom lying down, and then the one that was standing in front of her. She said that she was so scared that she fell backwards out of her chair, scrambling to get up to turn the dining room lights on, and that when she went into the bedroom, she got her blessing oil that she got from her pastor and did crosses on every window and wall and started reading scriptures from her Bible, and she was pleading the blood of Jesus. She said that she was literally terrified and that her husband asked her, "Why does her face looks like she had seen a ghost?" After which she told him what had happened. Now, a month later after this incident, she was watching Montel Williams, and he had the psychic Sylvia Brown on as a special guest. Now, one of the audience members experienced what Marquita had experienced with her husband, and the psychic told the audience member that what they experienced was a doppelganger. Now, Marquita knows her incident had something to do with the neighbors that lived above them doing sorcery and magic and the chanting. They were letting in spirits, opening and closing their balcony door nonstop at certain times of night. And it sounded like they were throwing bowling pins, but the apartments all have carpet, not hardwood. Now, Marquita sent me pictures of what the outside of the apartments look like and the floor plan of the apartment. So I'll attach those in the video. But she said that she lived on the ground floor, no balcony, And her apartment was made for handicapped people. So when you walk in, the closet wasn't in front of that door. The closet was in the dining room. It was open space. But in that situation, I personally wouldn't do any less. I would do the exact same thing she did. You know, she did the right thing by using the blessed oil and calling upon the name of God. You know, that's really all you can do. And as far as what doppelgangers are, my best guess that it's demonic in nature, but I'm not 100% sure. I would say it's demonic in nature only because I've never heard of like a regular ghost shape shifting into somebody you know and or love and using their image to scare the shit out of you. You know, the black eyes, the shape shifting, the smiling, to me, that that's a sign of like there's intelligence there. Like whatever this entity is making the decision to turn into somebody you know and to just scare you. They're making a decision to shapeshift, and they have a goal of what they want to do to you, like intimidate you, scare you, you know, to toy with you. So a regular ghost, to me anyway, I could be wrong, but a regular ghost is more like residual energy or somebody who has unfinished business. I don't think a regular ghost would be like, hey, let me shapeshift and scare this person just for shits and giggles. You know what I mean? I feel like if a ghost is going to appear, it's either because something traumatic happened and you know, their essence is left behind, you know, that trauma energy is left behind, and or they weren't ready to go, or they don't know that they're dead yet, or you know, they have unfinished business, so they can't move on. But I definitely think doppelgangers are demonic in nature. The other thing too, when it comes to getting roommates or moving into a new place, is you never know who you're living next to or you're living with. Like, you know, obviously that goes for strangers, but that applies to friends and family too. Let's say, you know, a good friend you went to high school with, you guys didn't talk for a couple years, or you fell out of communication for a couple years, and then, you know, you guys get back in touch and you decide to roommate. Well, you don't know what that person has gotten into since you left. And the same goes for family members. As far as you know, and let's say even if you did talk to them often and you guys decide to roommate, your friend could be messing with a Ouija board in the safety of their own room, but you would never know because, well, you're not going to go in their room and start looking through all their stuff. They could have a Ouija board in their closet that they only pull out late at night. They could have a Ouija board under their bed, you know, and if they know you're not into that or you don't like that stuff, they could easily use the Ouija board, you know, behind closed doors. So, and they could be performing rituals, you know, not trying to scare anybody, but that's just the reality of the situation. You never know who you're living with, and you damn sure don't never know who you're living next to. Like neighbors is a whole nother thing, but I feel like most people don't even talk to their neighbors. But that's another thing to think about, you know, just that's just the reality of this thing we call life. But since we're on the topic of demonic entities, I have received 3 very short encounters of people seeing a red-faced devil man. Is the, you know, it's hard to describe, but it's a man devil thing with a red face. And in episode 2, if you haven't heard it, Ghost, Shadows, and Devils, I talked about a girl I was talking to a while back. Told me a story about how her and her ex-boyfriend had the same dream of a red devil-faced man, but that, you know, she smelled sulfur and then it like touched her, whatever. You go listen. I don't want to tell you a story because you need to go. If you haven't listened to episode 2, go listen to episode 2. Now, the people from these 3 encounters would like to remain anonymous, so I'll give them all fake names. Now, for the first encounter, we'll say Brad. Brad emailed me and said that when he was 15, one night while he was in bed, it was pretty late at night, and he had trouble falling asleep. He said that he looked over to his window and he saw a red-faced a red-faced man looking into his window, smiling at him. Now, the problem with this, if you're thinking, okay, it's some creep that looked into his window and maybe, you know, he got a quick glance and maybe, or somebody's playing a prank on him, or maybe it was some weirdo and he just thought the weirdo's face was red. Brad's room was on the second floor, so there is no way that it was a person playing a prank or some weirdo just looking in. Now, the second encounter happened to Lucy when she was 10 years old. I'm not great at making up fake names, so you have to excuse me. Lucy said that late one night while she was in bed, she was asleep. What woke her up was the sound of her door creaking open very slowly. And initially she thought one of her parents was coming in to check on her. But she said that when she looked towards the door, she saw a red-faced devil man in the doorway. Now, the hallway behind this entity was black because the lights were out. But she said she could see the silhouette of this entity very clearly because it was blacker than the darkness in the hallway. Now, she doesn't know how long this thing was standing in the doorway for. She said it honestly felt like an eternity, but it could have been anywhere from a couple seconds to a couple minutes. And just as quickly as it arrived in the doorway, it disappeared, and she's never seen it again since, but it has terrified her till this day. Now, this last encounter happened to Lisa when she was 23 years old, and around 1 to 2 in the morning, she said that she was up late reading, so her little lamp next to her bed was on. And while she was reading, she started to smell this distinct burning smell. Like she's never smelled a burning smell like this. And when she looks up from her book to see what it is, she said at the foot of her bed was this red devil-faced man standing there, smiling at her. And she freaked the hell out. She said she screamed. Her roommate came running. And of course, by the time the roommate got there, the entity was no longer in the room. And she explained to her roommate what happened. And she still to this day doesn't know if her roommate believed her story or not. And she said that she couldn't sleep for a very long time. Like, as a matter of fact, she just recently have lately been able to fall asleep pretty easily. Now, as far as I know, none of these people, who emailed me their encounters know each other. And I know they don't know the person or the people that I talked about in episode 2 who also saw the red devil-faced man. And that begs the question, what the hell is this entity? Yeah, it's clearly demonic in nature, but what the hell is it? And why is it targeting people late at night? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm starting to notice a pattern between the 4 stories encounters that I've told so far, the 1 in episode 2 and the 3 right now. In episode 2, it came to the girl and her ex-boyfriend in their dreams while they were in bed. And then these 3 stories, all of them were in bed. 2 were trying to sleep, 1 was reading a book, and it's something about sleep is what I'm starting to notice. Either you're in bed late at night, you're in bed, either going to sleep or you're already asleep, and that's when it strikes. And as far as I know, its MO so far is to just scare the shit out of people. Like, it hasn't violently attacked anybody that I know of, or at least from the stories I've gotten so far. It hasn't like done too much damage, if any at all. Is this demon entity thing like the Loki of the demon world, where it just caused mischief and fear everywhere it goes? And what attracts this red devil face man to certain people? Like, have they messed with Ouija boards? I mean, they didn't tell me in the email, but have they been around Ouija boards, around somebody who's been messing with one? I don't know, did somebody maybe curse them or try to curse them? I don't know. Why target them? Why just scare people? Like, I have more questions than answers, but that's what this podcast is all about. I share, discuss, and I'm here to learn. So don't hesitate to send in your emails. That'll do it for this episode. Don't forget to join the Facebook group. Thank you for listening, for all my subscribers. If you like the videos, listen to the videos, comment on the videos, send in your stories. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Shout out to Marquita for emailing me her story. And then shout out to the 3 anonymous emailers. Thank you so much. You guys are keeping my channel going and keeping it interesting. So I'm so grateful from the bottom of my heart. But I will catch you guys in the next episode.